Converting a decimal to a percent is all about multiplying a decimal number by 100. In other words, I'm sliding a decimal point 2 places to the right. But what happens if I have a number such as this, 0.5? Let me show you how you would convert something like that into a percent. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just drop this 0 since it doesn't actually factor into our final answer. In other words, it's nothing. It's just a placeholder. It doesn't really matter. So I could just write the number again, 0.5. Okay, now I multiply my number by 100. Again, meaning I slide this decimal point 2 places to the right. There's 1, and there's 2. But you can see it's going to skip over a blank. If I did that, I'd actually end up with 5 blank and then the decimal point, which looks kind of odd. So if that happens, what I'm going to do is actually add a 0 there as a placeholder so I can skip over it. Okay, now I have 50 point. And the final step to convert a decimal to a percent, I remove my decimal point and trade it in for a percent symbol, like this. So 0.5 converted to percent is 50%. So let's go through that quickly one more time. I'm going to convert 0.7 into a percent. I'm going to drop this placeholder 0, which is to the left of the decimal point, so I have 0.7. Now I need to hop this decimal point 2 places to the right, but there's going to be a blank, so I'll add a 0. Now it can slide 2 spots to the right, and finally I end up with 70 and then a decimal point. And the last step, I remove that decimal point and trade it in for a percent symbol. So 0.7 converted into percent is 70%. Okay, so now it's your turn. Why don't you try and convert 0.9 into a percent now? So how did you do? 0.9 converted into a percent is 90%. And I arrived at that by dropping the 0. I just have 0.9. Then I want to add a 0 so I can slide past it. And I'm going to move 2 spots to the right. And finally I end up at 90 point. And then I just removed the point and traded it in for a percent symbol. And that's how I got 90%.